Everybody, JC here with another TNI toy review, and today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your #1 news source for everything Marvel. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends 6-inch scale Black Widow with motorcycle set from Hasbro. Now this figure comes packaged in a window box that looks very similar to what we've seen with the other Marvel Legend figures in this line. It is a wider box because you've got the figure and the motorcycle, so the width of this is about, I would say, close to 14.5 inches. And then the height is a normal about 9 inches in height. And you've got the figure and the motorcycle clearly displayed, and then down below you've got the Black Widow name. On the side you have artwork for Black Widow with the motorcycle, and then on the back you've got an image of the figure and the motorcycle. Off to the side, on one side you've got a brief bio in multiple languages, and then the other side it shows us close-up images of the actual motorcycle. Alright, let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging along with the other contents. So for accessories, not including the motorcycle, the only thing we get with this figure is an extra head sculpt. So we get this one with the shorter hair, and overall I think they've done a pretty nice job with this. Now I did some checking and I could not match this up with any previous figures. I won't swear that it's a totally new head sculpt, but from as far as I can tell, it does not seem to be from any other female figures that I can pinpoint. And she's got pretty pale skin, but she's got the red lipstick and the blue eyes, and I think they've done a pretty good job with the paint applications on this one. And then she's got the dark red hair with some wash effect, so I like that. And then she's got the second head sculpt with long hair. And again, I don't think this is a reissue from a previous figure. I know a lot of people thought this was going to be the Mary Jane head sculpt or something along those lines. It's not. I also checked to make sure it wasn't a reuse from like the recent Toys R Us exclusive 2-pack with the Phoenix. So it is different from those. So again, I won't swear 100%, but I do think these are actually new head sculpts that we're seeing with this figure. It is definitely not the same head sculpt that we got with the recent Black Widow that was released in the Toy Biz Retro line. Now that one is a repaint of the Mary Jane figure from the 2-pack, but this two head sculpts that we got with this set are not those, and again I do believe are actually new head sculpts. And again with the second one, I like the detailing. You've got pretty good paint applications with the eyes, and she's got the red lipstick, and she's got the black wash in the hair, and I like the way the hair is sculpted. I prefer Black Widow with the shorter hair, but she's definitely had both styles in the comics before, so you know, it's really kind of up to you how you want to pose her. And to switch out the head sculpts, it's easy. You just pop off the head you want to replace, and it pops off with that ball joint, and then you just pop on the head you want to replace it with, and it should pop on there pretty easy. It's a ball hinge joint, so that joint might move around a little bit, and it's actually a little bit loose, but again, you should be able to pop it on there pretty easily, and once you get it on there, it will fit nice and tight. Now for the rest of the figure, I have not again been able to match this up with any previous Marvel Legend figures. I won't swear that it's a new sculpt. It is definitely not the same body that was used with that Toy Biz Retro Black Widow figure. Now this is the only, these two Black Widow figures are the only comic book based 6-inch Marvel Legend Black Widow figures from Hasbro that I own. I don't have any of the older ones to give you a comparison. But again, this is definitely a different body mold than that Toy Biz Retro version. And there's some things I like about it. I like the way the collar looks, and you've got the zipper that's kind of pulled down with the metallic silver, and she's got the just basically a black costume. Now with this one, they just painted the belt on there with some metallic silver and then the red symbol for her belt buckle, as opposed to like with the retro one, which was actually a separate piece. And I kind of like it as a separate piece better. I think that looks a little better than the painted on version. And also, I don't really like these widow stings that they've given her. There's not a lot of detail with these. There's a little bit of sculpting detail, but for the most part they're pretty smooth. I like how they did the one on the retro version where they actually sculpted out the individual widow stings, and that's pretty much how it looks like in the comic. So it would have been nice. I think that it would have been better had they just used those and repainted them silver as opposed to the yellow color. But otherwise, I think it's a pretty solid figure. Not a lot of sophisticated paint applications. Again, it's just basically a black costume, and then she doesn't have heels or anything. She's got the flat feet, which is good, so she can stand and everything. And then the hands are sculpted so that she can hold on to the handle handlebars for the motorcycle. Also, I should note she does not come with any weapon accessories, but if you have like that Toy Biz Retro version, then you can use the pistols from that one, and she does hold those nice and tight. Okay, now for the bike itself, I think Hasbro's done a pretty nice job with the sculpting detail with this. There's not a whole lot in the way of paint applications. You've got the red plastic up here at the top and on the back and for the wheels, and then you've got black on the seat, and you've got a black color, black plastic here for the engine parts, and then they've done this dark gray color throughout the rest of the bike. A little bit lighter gray here near the wheel, and then over here on this wheel as well, it's a little bit lighter silver color. But for the most part, it's basically just plastic color. It's not really any paint detail. You've got the translucent plastic for the windshield, and then the yellow translucent plastic over the headlight. On the back, you've got the brake light, which is just painted red, and then you got like sculpting detail with the little gas cap here on the top. You got some stickers up here near the controls for like the speedometer and stuff. Looks like you have two. One, I don't know if maybe fell off or they just didn't include it, but on mine at least you've got two stickers there. Also on the right side of the bike you have the Black Widow symbol painted on it. And then the wheels, the handlebars will turn, or the front wheel will turn when you turn the handlebars. And then you also get some suspension in the back, so you got some up and down movement there. You've got a place where you can set the feet of the figure here when you put it on the bike, and then also you get a working kickstand so you can put it down so it won't fall over. When you don't have the kickstand down and you don't have a figure sitting on it, then it will fall over. It's not balanced enough to stand without the kickstand. Also, you got some pretty nice detailing even of like the chain here on the back wheel, so that's pretty nice detailing. And the wheels themselves, they roll pretty good, both the front and the back wheel, and then they actually feels like they've used a rubber type tread for the wheels, so they're not just hard plastic. So the figure stands just a little bit over 6 inches tall. Here's a comparison with the Toy Biz Retro version, which is a little bit taller. Now, if you want to switch out the heads between the Toy Biz Retro version and this new Rider Series, you can. I kind of like the head sculpt better on the Rider Series version, but like the body sculpt for the Retro version. So I may end up using the head sculpt, this head sculpt from the Rider with the Toy Biz Retro version. Here's a comparison of the new Black Widow figure with my most recent Marvel Legend Hawkeye figure. And here's a comparison of the Black Widow figure with some other recent Avenger figures released by Hasbro. Now the motorcycle measures, the width of it is about just under 7.5 inches, and then the height of it at its highest point looks to be just under 4 inches. To give you a comparison, because Hasbro's not the first one to give us motorcycles with Marvel Legend figures. Toy Biz did it back in the day with their Rider series. So this is the motorcycle that came with the Wolverine figure in that old Toy Biz Rider series wave. Now the Rider series wave was actually just a regular wave of Marvel Legends, and instead of giving us Build-A-Figure pieces, they gave us pack-ins like this motorcycle. But you can see that the paint applications are nicer on the Toy Biz version. The handlebars never really worked very well on this one, and the wheels don't turn very much or anything. So I kind of like this Hasbro version better than the older Toy Biz motorcycle. You can see here the Black Widow figure does fit pretty good on the motorcycle. I think the motorcycle is a good size for the figure. She does hold the handlebars nice and tight, so you don't really have to worry about her falling off, and you can just kind of tuck her feet under behind these little things that stick out on the bike. So again, I think the figure is a good size with the motorcycle here. And here you can see I've got the Toy Biz Retro version of Black Widow on the bike. That figure is a little bit bigger, so it doesn't fit quite as well, but still overall it works pretty decently. So if you wanted to use that one as your go-to Black Widow, she will fit on the motorcycle. And then here's a look at the Captain America, the Cap Wolf version, which uses that bigger buck. And I will say this one probably looks a little big on the bike. I mean, you can make it work, but you probably want to go with a smaller size Captain America figure if you want him riding the bike. And then finally, for one more, here's a look at the US Agent figure on the bike. And this figure incorporates the Bucky Cap mold, which fits a little bit better than that Cap Wolf mold does. I wouldn't say it's perfect though. However, definitely the bike colors match up nicely with US Agent. So for articulation with the Black Widow figure, you can turn the head to the left and to the right, and she can look down good, and she can look up with the head sculpt with the shorter hair. She can look up a little bit more than with the longer hair, but that's about as far as she can look up. Now I will say that this ball joint on this figure is pretty loose, so you know the figure, at least on mine, so that head might fall down a little bit, especially as you start posing it more and more. Just something to be wary of. You can also pivot the head a little bit to the left and the right. Arms attached with your standard ball hinge joint there at the shoulder, so she can get her arm out good. She's got good rotation. She has just the single hinged elbows, so she can bend her elbow about that much. Then you can rotate the elbow. You've also got rotation at the hand, and you do have hinges on the hand, so you've got up and down movement there. She's got a midsection joint, so she can rotate there, and she can pivot to the left and the right a bit there, and she can crunch over a little bit, but not too much, and then she can look back more than she can crunch forward. She does not have a waist swivel. Legs, she can do the splits that much, and then she can get her leg forward pretty good, and can only do her leg back about that much. She does have a thigh swivel. She has a double jointed knee, so good bending there at the knee, and then with the feet, you've got hinges, so up and down movement, and she does have ankle pivot and 2 peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Okay, so that's my review. So overall, I think this is a pretty decent set. My favorite thing about it is the head sculpts. I like both the long hair and short haired versions, and think they look much more like Black Widow than, say, the head sculpt, the Mary Jane head sculpt they used with the Toy Biz Retro version. Now, as far as the body goes, I do think it is a nice size for the motorcycle. However, I don't really like the Widow stings on this one. I think they look too smooth. I like the Widow stings that they used with the Toy Biz Retro version. Also, I don't really like the painted on belt. I like it as a separate piece, again, like we saw with the Toy Biz Retro version. Now, for the motorcycle itself, I think they've done a pretty good job with it. I like the overall look of it. I like the sculpting detail. Paint applications are basic, but I do like the color scheme. And again, it does work very nicely with this particular figure. And some of the larger figures it works decently with as well. Some of the figures do look a little too big on it, but again, this particular figure definitely works nicely with the motorcycle. Now this set, along with the Ghost Rider one, which I will be reviewing tomorrow, have started to see a limited release. We'll have a full image gallery up at marvelousnews.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. Also, please hit that subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it. You can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I have links to those in the video description as well. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.